Yeah, you were totally down for, you were the moon hoax crusader. Something?
No. Listen, man.
I got a question for you, man. Okay. So, I've been a fan of you for a long time, right? So what made you make the switch from like being a moon landing denier to like,
that's a good question.
Crazy if you don't
No. Can't cover this thing up if somebody reputable starts talking about UFOs. You can co-opt the person and say, hey, you want to know UFOs? We'll show you the real deal. But not only can you never talk about it publicly, you have to be a debunker publicly.
I'll tell the government right now, tell you right now if you're listening, NSA, CIA, I'm available, okay? If you show me all the real wreckage, I swear to God, I will make fun of that crap to the end of time. I'll make up stories. I'll lie to my mother. I don't care. You show me a UFO, I'll lie to my mother.
No. Listen, man. Here's my issue. My issue is, how can I even argue it? How is it possible that I even have points?
You're a moon guy for a while, right? Is that
yeah,
right?
well, listen, my issues with not believing that people went on the moon, a lot of it had to do with a friend who had an uncle who worked at Rocketdyne. This guy was convinced that there was no way to do it. He was an engineer, and he said they were so far away from doing it that the fact that they did it, and they did it 7 times, but since looking at it, the weight of all the evidence, I reserve the possibility that some things were horseshit based on a lot of photographic evidence that they did fuck with.
Well, here's
like
the thing.
Gemini photos.
Yeah, but here it is. Here it is. If you look at like the fuel that was loaded up into the Saturn V rocket, you can calculate where that fuel could take that rocket. It's to the moon and back. So they're not going to the Piggly Wiggly, right?
Yeah.
In the Saturn V.
No, I'm a retard. Listen, if anybody has any real sense, they would look at it and say, "There's no way that was a hoax. There's no way. There's no way that was a hoax. There's no way.
There's no way people went on the moon. There's no way."
Joe Rogan, I know, he didn't tell me this, I learned from other sources, and I talked to him about it. He said, yeah, I'm not going to talk about it. He got threatened about 5 years ago. And he got threatened really serious, and him and his family, if he didn't stop getting into conspiracies, because they knew how popular he was. They had him do some TV show that made fun of it all and the rest of it. Not say he was a sellout, but it was a process when that show was starting. He wasn't even aware what was happening to him at the time. And I'll just say this. Joe disagrees, he can say it, but he knows this is true. And so that's why I was on the show, and he was like finishing my sentences. Joe knows as much as this as I do. And he learned about all this, he talked about it, and they dropped by and they said, you know, you want what you're doing, your family, shut your mouth.
That's the government trying to control me. They can't handle the truth.
You don't think the moon landing is real?
No, I don't. No. Do you?
Yeah.
Why do you think the moon landing is real? Why don't you tell me why?
I saw it on television.
Oh, you're a genius. Oh, beep that. Hit that.
We'll bleep it. We'll bleep it. No, it's okay. We got
That's genius. You saw it on TV? That's awesome. I'm going to show you some CGI. I'm going to show you King Kong. I saw that on TV, too. There's an 80-foot gorilla. He's running around kidnapping white chicks.
So you think we went to the moon?
That's not what I asked you. I said, how much did you look into that?
Do you think we went to the moon?
Eddie, answer my fucking
How come
question.
You don't answer my
you
question?
talk ridiculous.
See, you're trying
you talk
to
in circles.
Okay.
You're talking in circles.
I am?
They're ridiculous conversations. First of all, I don't see
you
where
were just
the
telling
money
before
is. I don't see. Hold on a second. I don't see where the money is to have all these hoaxes.
You don't see the tax scam with the rovers?
No
1969, industry. They faked 6 moon missions. How am I supposed to believe anything from that?
Those are not the same people.
How?
Even if that was true, those are not the same people, and Richard Nixon isn't alive anymore.
So you just write them all off, though, Eddie? Just off that one exception?
You got to prove it to me. I don't need to believe it. I don't need to believe it. It's not gonna. How is it gonna? I don't believe it. But if it's true, I don't give a shit. Okay, it's true. Oh, that's true. Oh, okay, but you got to prove it to me. Otherwise,
the problem isn't that.
I don't care.
No
the problem is there's no proving it.
They faked 6 moon missions.
But that doesn't matter. These are not the same people.
So because they're different people, they're not going to. I don't understand that logic.
Well, the logic is just because someone faked something one point in time before you were alive, doesn't mean that those same human beings have managed to download their brains into everybody that ever did that job for the rest of time, because they're not the same humans.
But to the fact that maybe they faked it, because now you're open to the fact that maybe they faked
it. Maybe they did fake that, but you can't just lump. And I'm not even saying they did.
That's the greatest achievement of mankind.
Because at the time, there's a reason to do it. But
we got new people. We got new people now. Come on, man, that's hilarious.
So you're saying all of them are bad?
How can you see how I can't trust shit from NASA?
But it's not that you. But do you understand that it's not that you can't trust shit?
Because maybe they all those bad people have died and they're all old, and the new NASA, they're the good NASA.
They can't all be bad.
Absolutely.
I don't know enough about astrophysics, about space travel, about the science that's, you know, the work that's been done, about how to get a rocket to the moon and back. Definitely don't know enough. Some of the stuff that they passed off as being legitimate photographs of space travel was actually test runs where they blacked out the background and pretended that they were in space. Some of the stuff that they filmed, they made out to look like they were on the moon when they were not. But does that mean they didn't go to the moon? No, it doesn't.
As a society, we're so scientifically illiterate, you know, and that causes so much room for speculation. And you're kind of a prisoner of people who are masters of their craft. You're kind of a prisoner to their quote unquote agenda. I don't want to put that bad of a term on it, but you're kind of a prisoner of that because we don't have any choice but to take their word for it or to pursue it yourself.
Right, to learn about what they're talking about yourself, to know if they're right or not. Yeah. Well, that's absolutely.
All I'm saying is, when I look at all of it, when I look at the photographic evidence, or I look at the fact that we haven't been back since 1972, when I look at the fact that no humans except the Apollo astronauts have ever gone through the Van Allen radiation belt, the fact that no one's even done a flyby around the moon since then, it seems weird to me. When I look at the press conference and I see Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins nervous and weird and obviously like being deceptive after they came back, I go, what is that? I look at all that stuff. Now, when I look at that video, and some of the video that Sebro has, of them faking the distance between the Earth and the Moon, when they're shooting the Moon, or the Earth rather, through a circular window in the lunar module, and they have the windows blacked out, they're pretending that it's deep space, they're saying that they're 130,000 miles out, and then you see them pull the window curtains down, or the shade, whatever they have covering up with the windows, and you see that they're actually in near-Earth orbit. That makes me curious. When I look at the photographs and I see intersecting shadows, now I'm no photographic expert. I don't know anything about the moon really except stuff that I've read on the internet. I'm no scientist. But when I see intersecting shadows that seem to show some sort of a different light source or more than one light source, it looks odd to me. When I see that those crosshairs aren't over all the images, it looks cut and cropped to me. When I look at some of the photographs of the moon, I have this gigantic coffee table book, and it's all, you know, a NASA book, and it's beautiful pictures of the moon and all these different photographs. Well, when I look at some of them, they look obviously fake. They look cut and cropped.
No human being ever, since the Apollo astronauts, has gone more than 400 miles up.
That's about right, yeah.
That's ridiculous. 260,000 miles there and back, and the best they can do since 1972 is 400 miles?
Yeah. And now, while you're saying it's ridiculous because you can't believe it, I think it's ridiculous because I can believe it very well.
But it's not like they're not spending money. And they keep talking about going back, but they talk about going back in 2020. Why go back in 2020 when you could just... That's the other problem. They don't have the telemetry data from the Apollo 11. Isn't that like the most important data? Isn't that like the most important thing? A huge technological achievement. They landed a man on the moon, brought him back, and they're missing the telemetry data? 14,000 something reels?
They're missing a lot of that stuff. Was not.
I went on the moon. A lot of it had to do with a friend who had an uncle who worked at Rocketdyne, this guy was convinced that there was no way to do it. He was an engineer, and he said they were so far away from doing it that the fact that they did it, and they did it 7 times, but since looking at it, the weight of all the evidence, I reserve the possibility that some things were horseshit based on a lot of photographic evidence that they did fuck with.
Well, here's the thing.
Gemini photos.
Yeah, but here it is. If you look at like fuel that's loaded up in a rocket, you calculate where that fuel could take that rocket. It's to the moon and back. So it's not going to the Piggly Wiggly, right? But in the Saturn V.
No, I'm a retard. Listen, if anybody has any real sense, they would look at it and say, "There's no way."
Forgot that Russell's a moon guy. Look, I've argued with people, and I absolutely don't know.
Something?
No.
You were totally down for. You were the moon hoax crusader.